Welcome. In this video you will learn how to make handmade candles from natural wax. First, let's see what you will need. Ingredients: natural beeswax chunks, beeswax sheets, candle wicks, preferably pre-waxed, natural dyes in powder form, optionally. You do not need essential oils for scent because oils burn and smoke, without evaporating their initial pleasant fragrance. Necessary tools and supplies: 1 large soup pot to melt the wax cubes in and 2 smaller kettles to cool the wax a little before pouring it into the mold. Thin bamboo sticks and elastic bands to support the wick in the containers. Gas stove or electric hot plate. Optionally, a food thermometer to check the melting temperature of the wax. A roll of kitchen paper to wipe the hot plate in case the wax spills on the stove and smokes. Gas burner, optionally, alternatively, a candle or a long lighter. Hairdryer or hot air blower, optionally. Apron, optionally. Candle recipients or molds. Safety measures. When melted, the wax has a temperature of 60 to 70 degrees Celsius and burns. Be careful. When pouring into the container, do it slowly to avoid air bubbles that can cause the candle to crack and to avoid splashing on your body or clothes. Be careful not to touch the stainless steel edges of the pots on the stove. Be careful how you handle the hot air blower, it can burn you. Now, let's make the candles. Step 1. Prepare the molds in which you will pour the melted wax, a glass container in our case, then glue the pre-waxed candle wicks to the base of the container with a little melted wax. The candle wicks are essential for every candle maker. You can either buy or prepare them yourself after you gain experience, from a mixture of cotton and hemp, of different sizes, depending on the shape and size of the candles. For this you will have to personally test which sizes work best for the shapes you will make for optimal burning and longevity. To burn better and more evenly, you could wax them beforehand. Some wicks have a metal base to help them attach to the glass containers or to the metal tablets into which melted wax is poured. Others, however, are simple in the case of beeswax sheets candles, or in the case of candles cast in silicone molds to which you can glue the metal base later, after the candle hardens. Step 2. Depending on the number and size of the candles, you can start with about 2 to 3 kilograms of natural beeswax bought from small beekeepers. That is the first layer of wax that the beekeepers remove from the honeycomb frame. In a large stainless steel pot, we put the wax cubes and melt them. Be patient, the wax melts slowly and cools quickly. Stir from time to time, over low heat. Optionally, you can use natural dyes in powder form, which you mix with coconut oil and then with melted wax. However, we will not use them in this tutorial. Important, the shades of yellow of the wax differ depending on what kind of pollen the bees have collected or on the melting temperature. Exposed for a while to the sun, ultraviolet light, or by melting at high temperatures, beeswax candles become white in color. Beeswax is available in small quantities, which makes it more expensive than soy wax or paraffin. For a bee to produce 1 kilogram of wax, it needs to consume about 6 to 8 kilograms of honey. The supply is usually made between December and February. After being taken from the beekeepers, the wax is melted by the candle maker, filtered and purified at 100 to 150 degrees Celsius to eliminate bee residues and larvae, and then left to cool down and cut in chunks in order to be used at a later time. Step 3. When the wax reaches a temperature of 60 to 70 degrees Celsius and has a smooth consistency, we can pour it into a smaller kettle, cool it for a few seconds and then slowly pour it into the molds, without moving them. The hotter the wax is, the longer it takes for the candle to harden. In larger quantities, the wax will come off the container's walls after it hardens. The same pouring method applies to pillar candles. If small candles crack, they can be repaired by melting the wax in the crack area with a gas burner. Step 4. Making wax candles from beeswax sheets is a safe method for children, as long as you make sure the wax sheet is flexible enough. If necessary, an adult can heat it for 3 to 4 seconds with a hairdryer or a hot air blower so that it doesn't crack when kids roll it. The beeswax sheets are also purchased from beekeepers in sizes of about 50 per 70 centimeters, from which you cut sheets of various shapes and sizes depending on the model you want to obtain. For the classic, straight candle, fix the wick with one end to the edge and the other outside the paper, then roll and press gently so that the wax rolls over the wick. For the egg-shaped candle, cut the sheet into 2 trapezoids and not rectangular shape as in the previous case. Make sure one sheet is thinner than the other. First roll the thicker sheet and then the thinner one slowly. Finally, you can stick a wax ornament with melted wax in order to mask the end. You can decorate larger candles in the same way. Pillar candles burn for about 2.5 to 3 hours. Wax candles from honeycomb paper burn for about 1.5 hours. The last step is to cut the wick about 1 centimeter above the candle. Did you know that, through evaporation, beeswax produces the negative ions that seas and rivers produce, at a much lower level, helping to purify the air in your rooms by eliminating unpleasant odors, mold spores, and improving symptoms of colds and allergies? Now, after the wax has dried, you can enjoy your own 100% healthy candles. Thanks for watching.